What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark, MacTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic. And I'm still doing Tribeca. Tribeca 2025. Hashtag Tribeca 2025. And this is probably going to be my final Tribeca review. So sad. But Metallica saved my life. Not really. I actually don't listen to Metallica, but there's a movie called Metallica Saved My Life. And it debuted at the 2025 Tribeca Film Festival, and I've seen it. Look at that. It's also not the first Metallica documentary that we've had, so click like and subscribe and join my cult following here on YouTube. Uh, we do wear pink on Wednesdays. So, uh, I think that's like the least Metallica thing I could have possibly added to this. We wear pink on Wednesdays. We wear pink. Um, so you, how did I get into a documentary about a band I don't listen to or like? I can do that. Like you can write a story about something that I'm not really into. I can watch a biopic about somebody I didn't know anything about or didn't really get, like it's totally possible. It's all about the direction of the film and the content of what you're putting into it. So with Metallica Saved My Life, one of the things that the film does beautifully is it just sort of explores not just Metallica as a band and how the band was formed and sort of getting these fans and sort of the history. They lost a band member sort of early on and sort of the tribute that's going on for that band member and how great the fans have been for the band and also how the band sort of pays it forward. The band finds many ways of paying it forward to the fans, to showing up for the fans, to literally physically showing up for the fans. Like if a fan is in the hospital sick, literally showing up for the fans. Um, and they've had some fans that have sort of like religiously shown up at their concerts and they just end up hiring them to be part of their crew. So you talk to some of these people who have been there sort of since day one and they started out as fans and now they work for Metallica. So it's not just about like Metallica coming in and stopping people from suicide or something like that. I mean, there are brushes with that here. There are people who have been through sort of like painful experiences, and Metallica is like whatever they find in the song, whatever they find in the lyrics speaks to them, which I can't say that that's like an unfair thing to do. Just because I don't like Metallica doesn't mean that Metallica can't speak to you. There are plenty of things that, are not my experience, but they could be somebody else's. And therefore, because of their certain set of circumstances that have transpired over the course of their life, they're going to like different things. You know, you'll have people, I don't know, it's a dumb example. John Mayer's song, I want to run through the halls of my high school. If you never went to high school, that song probably doesn't mean much to you. But like to like a lot of people at high school or who get nostalgia about high school or who are about to graduate from high school, like there's certain moments where you're like, oh my God, this song. Like as stupid as it is, I remember just because of how old I am, when Vitamin C's Graduation dropped, man, that song was everywhere. But the song was everywhere for my generation at that time. I haven't really heard it since. I don't know if the kids even know about Graduation. So we talk to somebody about the rest of our lives. So, yeah, if you throw a song at somebody and it makes sense to them at any point in their life based on how they have lived, yeah, it could come from any band. It could come from any artist. Could come from any style. They could just be inspired by classical music with no lyrics. So the fact that Metallica speaks to people, I embrace that. I think it's totally possible. Uh, People love Metallica. They've been around forever. So obviously they work for people. Um, and I think hearing these stories is what powers this movie. And that's why you're here, is to hear from the fans. We hear a lot from the band too. And that's also, so I think about structurally, what is going to keep me from liking Metallica, and it's the same thing that kind of keeps me from liking a lot of things with current artists or people who are still alive, when we let people sort of dictate their own biography or their own documentary, and they have sort of this creative control over it. Is I truly believe that while someone is still alive, that we pull our punches regardless, that there are things, and that creatively, even in this Metallica Save My Life thing, I think there are things that if people had said, Metallica would have shut down. I think there were things they didn't want to say, and it's not truly an honest exploration of the story, of the experience. But I feel that with so many other films, I say this about a lot of films where the creative control lies within the people who made it. Notably, this is something that a lot of people brought up about Whitney Houston's movie, the Whitney Houston movie, I Want to Dance with Somebody, in the way the way that Clive Davis was sort of projected, considering he was a producer on the film. So Stanley Tucci's portrayal of Clive Davis kind of bothered fans who were a little bit more aware of Whitney's life, and thought Clive came off looking rather angelic. So I think, yeah, and I've said this, so I like it when you reveal some of the warts. There's some documentaries that have admitted to the warts, to where somebody does an interview and they are pretty open with talking about a lot of their problems. There was a Liza Minnelli documentary earlier this year where Liza, of course, she can't dodge the fact that she went through rehab, so she has to tackle that head on. It's something that everybody knows about her, but at least she comes at it from a seemingly honest place. I appreciate it a lot more. There was a Janice Ian documentary this year that I liked a lot, where I thought Janice sort of explored a lot of her own, trials and tribulations and the kind of things. But that's such a small nitpicky thing, and I would say it about a lot of documentaries that people would say, that was a great documentary. Still, a Michael J. Fox story, I think, is meant to be inspirational. It's not meant to show Michael ever as being a douchebag. So if Michael ever was a douchebag, they probably wouldn't include it. And I don't think he is, but if he ever had that moment on camera, I think it was cut. So if Metallica in the filming of this documentary ever said anything or did anything, or if there was somebody who they interviewed, see, that's the thing too, is that I don't know how they got these interviews, and I don't know who showed up when, but when you're choosing people's stories, I don't know whose story got cut, and I don't know for why, but it does read like it's super positive, like this is Metallica saved my life, like this is really a documentary about how amazing Metallica is. So it feels like it's for the fans. So when I say it has a ceiling and I give it like an A-, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad documentary. It just means that I think there's a ceiling for a documentary like this that feels like it's just a celebration of an individual, of a person, and not necessarily an actual exploration, an honest exploration of them, or if it feels like it's sort of cataloged and pieced together from the things we wanted to say, and that things that we didn't want to say were left behind. And I think that's likely here. It's not as necessary because the whole documentary is designed to be a bunch of fans talking about how Metallica saved their lives, but I don't know how many people they interviewed to get to this point of Metallica saving. Did they put out an alert? Did Metallica save your life? If so, call this number now. Like, I don't know how they got these people. So if they just started interviewing random Metallica fans at like concerts and stuff, and they got stories from people, what made these stories that we eventually hear get included. So I guess yeah, it's really nitpicky. But when you get to the top, when you're starting to try to figure out like what is, it gets kind of nitpicky. you know, when you're like, all these things are good. What's the little thing? What's the thing that would cause me to put this under something else? So that's just kind of the thing. And I would say that about like 100 documentaries that are like this. So that I usually end up just going A minus. Like there's just something about it where I'm like, I think it's great, but I also kind of wonder structurally, is this the, you know, is this all we need? Is this all we had to say? So Metallica fans will love this. I mean, it's not a concert movie, but it has enough of their music in there that I think people will like it. It is mostly designed to be people talking about Metallica. Luckily, it's not a concert movie like uh, the Bono thing that is on Apple, which I haven't even put my review out of it yet, but I actually have already seen the Bono thing. I'm like, what is this? Uh, I'm going to tell you a story and sing you a song. Okay. Um, so Metallica saved my life. I'm giving you an A minus. I like with most film festival movies, audio description is, you know, it matters because the film will hopefully get picked up for distribution, and then like what does the distributor do with it? So I'm just gonna go ahead and grade it. There isn't a ton of room for audio description here, like with a lot of documentaries where people are just talking nonstop, and then on top of it, it's also a music doc. So there's a lot of music. So then you'd be talking on top of Metallica, which is just rude. So yeah, I like the documentary. Even though it's not my thing, Metallica's not my thing, but it doesn't need to be. You just have to tell me a good story about it. But I kind of would appreciated just a little bit of a, we hit hard times here. That's not how they sound, but or one guy being like, Metallica didn't save my life, but I don't know, something that just feels a little bit different, that feels like they didn't need to include it, but they wanted to show that not all that glitters is gold. Anyway, it's a weird review. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you guys on the other side.